Alright, so here you have a little bit of a close-up. So let's go over the shoes. Let's start at the sole. This has the iconic, it's still a bit wet from outside, but it has the Panama sole. So this is really like the Vietnam era boot, and it has the classic Panama sole there, which allows for a lot of mud and stuff to easily get out, giving you an on average better grip. Not that they are spectacular in either mud or like on rocks, but you know, on average in the jungle this gives you the benefit. The soles are relatively flexible. They have a little bit of torsion, but they're relatively solid, you know. The leather is action leather, as they call it, really smooth from the box. It really feels like you may have already owned them for many years, but it just comes very smooth out of the box. The tip is a little bit harder, but still. The finish in general is really well done. The stitching is nice. The shoe is very well done overall. There are no obvious issues there. Here you have the drain holes. Yeah, here on the inside of the shoe. We'll be testing them as well. And on the tongue of the shoe is made of nylon, but it's very thin. It's a very thin layer, so it's almost see-through. The laces, they are speed laces. You will see me put them on when I test them for the mud sticking to the sole, etc. And you can see them. It's really one pull, and they're done. So that is really a speed lace. The laces are made of nylon, but they are really hard, and therein is also a problem. I will get to that later. They're relatively lightweight, so beautiful boots out of the box. Quality is there, nice nylon. Here is some reinforcement nylon here at the sides where your ankle is approximately. They have some padding at the top, giving it a nice fit. So what I did was I took them out for one hike for an hour. So 1 hour straight hiking just to see how they feel. I usually put them on around the house a little bit at first, and then I take them out for a long walk just to see what they do. Now I have to tell you, my feet are a bit, well, awkward in the sense that my toes are a little bit like this. So my knuckles of my toe is actually easily getting to the top of the leather here. So the profile of the shoe is very flat. You can see that it is a very flat model. It doesn't have a lot of space here. So my toes keep bumping against the leather here, and that gave me a whole lot of blisters. So both feet very painful after an hour of walking. Another thing, and you know, you will see that if you have other hiking boots with a different profile of the sole, they are a little bit more like this. So you walk a little bit easier, but these are relatively flat. So every time you walk, I hope you can see that the leather here caves in, yeah, and it caves in right at your foot. You know, where your toes and your foot, they're kind of like, no, well, it pushes in really hard, and after a while that becomes really annoying. Another thing, again, this is personal, but you know, the leather here is stitched on top of each other, and even on the inside you can actually feel the layers of leather. So this is about 2 layers, and there is some extra as well. Some fabric of the liner is also there. So this is really thick. And when you lace the shoe really tight, this becomes a pressure point on your feet. Another thing is the laces. The speed laces, yeah, and they are nylon, but the tongue of the shoe is also just a very thin layer of nylon. And as you can see at the bottom, you just have eyelets here, and that means that the laces are running underneath, and they are actually pushing into the tongue of the shoe and therefore into your feet. So the bottom part, where there are no loops, because here are loops, this is actually carved into your feet. So after an hour, when you take them off, you can see exactly in your skin where the laces were. And I was just wearing normal cotton socks. Now I know originally soldiers were wearing very thick socks, So they would have had a little less of that problem. But for me, it was really painful. I tried different laces. I tried a different set of lacing. That's why I skip an eyelet here, just to relieve a little bit of that pressure. And that makes a little bit of a difference. But either way, the laces are pressed into your feet. Now the heel part is really comfortable. No issues there, so very well done. And the top of the shoe is also really comfortable, really nice, really well around your ankle and your feet. So really comfortable there. So the back side is actually really good, and the front side and the top, I would say, in terms of quality, it's really nice, but in terms of comfort, they are really terrible. So of all the boots that I wore in the years, these come right at the bottom. Alright, so fit and finish. Fit, terrible. Finish, the quality, yeah, really good. It's really there. It is what it is. And for the price, it is definitely not bad. But that's that. One more thing, the sole is very important, of course, because this also determines how quick your shoe will dry after you went through a river or so, or walking through the grass. Wet grass all day. This is made of a sort of a rubbery material, which I don't think absorbs water because it's, yeah, I don't know, sort of a foamy rubbery thing. And on the inside is a sort of like a nylon liner. Now we'll see how quickly that dries. I don't see it dry really quick, but we'll see in another test how quick that dries. The leather we'll also try and see how quickly it dries. But let's get to the next test, and that is the mud sticking. Okay, this is the mud we're going to walk through. As you can see, a lot of leaves and a lot of branches, almost like a real jungle, I hope. So let's see. Okay, the mud sticking test with the Panama soles with the Wellco boots. Let's see how quickly we can put them on, how quick the quick lace system is. Okay. Okay, that is okay, let's walk through the mud and see what sticks. Okay, let's see.
Oh, they're pretty clean.
Pretty clean. Nice and muddy. Let's see. Okay. Okay, they're pretty clean. The question, of course, is how quickly will they dry to a reasonable state that you can put them on with dry socks and be good to go. So we'll just see how long that actually takes. Is that a few hours or maybe all night? I don't know. So we'll just see what happens. I'll put a bucket on it just to keep them underwater, to keep it fair. By the way, I have 3 types of jungle boots in here. The Baltes boots from Germany, the Meindls, also German, and the Wellco boots from America. Just to have a comparison as well. So depending on what video you're watching, you know, that's the boot you will be keeping your eye on. Okay, it is 5:45, so we are 5 hours in, and I think we are at a turning point because I checked all the shoes, and the Baltes shoes, even on the inside, the leather here, the lining is pretty dry. The bottom is pretty dry, only the nylon is still a bit wet. The mindles a bit the same, but the lining is still a bit moist, especially here where it's a bit thicker. But it's nothing terrible. And the Wellco boots, yeah, the lining is still a bit wet. So, I mean, nothing terrible, but again, it's doable. But all in all, if we just look at the shoes, I would say that the Mindel and the Wellco boots are equal, and the Baltes shoes are actually the driest. I would put these on without any thinking, so that's a good thing. And the soles, these were dry after about 3 hours. We're now 5 hours in, so these are completely dry. This one is also not bad. You can feel it's been a little bit moist, but you know, I would call that pretty dry.